Oh,
Wait,
fuck's
wait.
sake.
What? What? No, no, no. This is it. I need to wear this hat. That's part of the deal.
Is it?
Hello.
Hello. Why the fucking hat?
I don't know. I told him taking it off immediately. All right.
Oh,
What's
can
happening?
I just ask can I ask the question again?
Yeah.
Have you been driving the boat?
Well, yesterday I tried to, because I've got a yard that needs to be mowed here, I tried to move the boat out of the way so I could mow the yard.
Okay.
Just hypothetically, if I was able to do that, would you consider that to be driving the boat?
No, no.
Okay.
Is the water still in the boat from the
Well, I
rains?
didn't think so. I thought I'd jacked it up high enough that the water had run out.
Yes.
But yesterday, when I attempted to move the boat,
Yes.
I could hear the water in the hull.
Okay. So you do know that it's a boat and it's designed to keep the water outside of it.
Have you? Where do you live? No, you actually don't live in Southeast Queensland. You travel that much. You have no idea what's going on here, do you?
Oh, it's
In terms
been
of the
wet. I
weather.
get that. Yeah, I get
There
it.
hasn't been a single day where you would take a boat out. It's just been sweaty and hot and wet.
Yeah.
It's been revolting. There's no
And
boat.
so you've hung up the captain's hat and got the Akubra.
Yeah, well, the Akubra, to be honest, I'm only using for the start of this podcast and for when I watched 1923, which is a Yellowstone prequel on Paramount
Rightio.
Plus.
Do you know what you should do?
Tell me.
Sell the boat.
Nah, no, no, no. The weather
Buy
will
a
change.
horse.
Winter's going to be sick.
Sell the boat, buy a horse.
Oh, that's not a bad idea. I could see myself doing that. One of our customers, the River Mill, has a cafe out at Mount Nathan. They're on the
Yes.
little creek where they feed turtles and stuff. And I rocked up there for our first delivery, and I was like, "Where is everyone?" Some dude runs up to me on a horse and
What?
just stands in front of me talking to me. And Mo, my sales guy, was like, "Oh yeah, I can't remember his name." He's like, "That's the guy. He's the guy who runs like the place." And we just had a
Right.
full conversation with this guy on a horse. I'm like, "Where do you want me to put the coffee?" He's like, "Put in here." Now I'm leaving. Every time I go there,
But you
he's
put the
just
coffee
cruising around on a horse.
you put the coffee on the horse.
I didn't put the coffee on the horse. We put it in the cafe, but he's there all the time, just cruising around the horse like it's normal. This is just like at the back of Nerang.
Well, that's practically rural, so
It's pretty rural, but like whether or not it's appropriate to ride your horse to the car park to meet your suppliers while they're not on a horse, but you are on a
yes.
horse. That I found
Yes.
a little strange. It's not. I'm not having to go with the guy, but
No, no, clearly the guy loves his
it was
horses.
left of center.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it very
And yeah,
intimidating because he's high up? Because how many hands was the horse?
horse. Oh, well, I'm not even. I don't. I'm not going to comment on that. Um,
Oh, you don't know what that means?
no, I do, but you don't know what it means when you mention the word hands and horse at the same time, and I
I
just
have
don't.
no
I just don't
idea,
want
but
to.
that's
I
I
just don't
just
want to go
heard
there
that's a question that
for
you
our
asked.
audience. I would say the horse is 15, 16 hands. That's what I'd say.
That's good. I have no idea what that means. Have you got a beer?
Dude, horses are fucking scary.
Oh
There's
yeah,
no
they suck.
no way around it. They're
Have you got
fucking
a Have you
scary.
got a beer?
I do have a beer. I've got the this one you may have heard of. It's got a code on the front there. It says please vote status quo.
Oh, look at this.
No. No.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that. You got the vote one as well. What you got a November?
What's your package date? Sorry, I've got a bit of a cough still. What's your package date?
I got November. I think it's the
So's mine.
yeah,
Yeah,
third of November.
it's November. I picked this up from Common Ground Cellars in
Nice.
St. Lucia, and I did see it there before, and they got the top 5 beers in just to sort of get people in the area into craft beer and that sort of thing. And I saw it and I was like, it's fucking November pack date.
So this is
But
the
I
first
was
time
like,
you've tried this beer, correct?
I've never tried this beer. Yeah, never tried
Okay.
it.
All right, let's just do a
Anyway,
live review right
cheers. Look
now.
at that
Live. Oh, that
glass.
looks pretty good.
Glass is looking pretty good. I just washed it.
I mean, it is over 3 months
That's
old.
pretty fucking good though for 3 months old.
Mm.
Nothing wrong with that. It's got a little bit of age on it, but fuck, I'd still drink it.
Yeah. I went out of my way. This is like how hard it is to be a real craft beer sort of fan on the Gold Coast. I went out of
Right?
my way. I wanted to get this beer because I like it a lot.
Yes.
And it's a good beer to have on the podcast. So I went out of my way to go to an independent bottle shop, which was a reasonable way out of the way to get it. And this bottle shop is probably the best independent bottle shop on the Gold Coast. Maybe second best. It's up
Yes.
there.
Yeah.
And this is the freshest mountain culture pale they have. So this is three
Yeah.
and a bit months old
What's
after
your date?
everyone. Well, I think it's the 3rd of November.
Yeah, mine's 3rd of November as well.
The same batch. That's after everyone in the country's been told about it a week ago. So you think it's a pretty
Yeah.
fast moving beer. And I looked at
Well,
the other ones. I looked at the IPA. I looked at other ones that I was because I thought I'd go there, I'd get that. I'd get whatever's fresh out of everything else. And just everything was older than that. Like some of them were 6 months old.
yes.
Everything was old. I ended up buying a Pirate Life that was kind of not that fresh either, but I just thought,
Yeah.
might as well give it a go.
Isn't it interesting though? It's like the 3rd of November pack date, but the best before is the 1st of May. So 6 months
Good.
instead of the typical 9 months.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. Not bad at all.
I mean, it
Still
tastes good
tasting
for 3
good.
months old.
Yeah, I think it's good.
Yeah.
I think if we all band together and drink it all, then fresher beer will arrive.
Well, that's true. But then this bottle shop was full of 20, 30, 40 other breweries' beers, all smaller
Mm,
breweries. And you kind of think,
mm,
well, how old are some of those beers? And you look at like, if you know the releases that come out, like some pretty old releases in there.
mm. Nice beer though.
Yeah, very good. What's been happening?
Oh, it's been a big week, hasn't it?
You still got COVID?
It's not COVID.
No, okay, all right.
I did a COVID, like you can get like rat tests now that do COVID and flu, and I had the flu.
You had the flu.
Yeah.
Did you die or
I
no?
felt like I was dying. I still feel like I'm dying. I'm still not got over this damn cough.
Was it worse than COVID?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. COVID was nothing compared to this bloody flu. It was
Yeah.
ridiculous. Um and it's been really interesting. I've been very tired. I'm getting on top of it now, but man, I've been tired and all that sort of stuff and just sleeping heaps. But I'm all right now. I'm coming good. I'm looking forward to heading out this weekend as the hiker first birthday is on this weekend.
I saw
And
that. I feel like this
the
podcast should become the hiker podcast. The amount we talk about that
yeah,
brewery.
yeah. And then the Mountain Goat Valley Crawl is on as well on Saturday.
Yeah, tell me about that. Yeah,
Which
I noticed you added that to the list
Yeah,
of
I added
topics.
it. Yeah, I added it to the bottom, but let's bring it to the top.
Go on.
So, so Mountain Goat Valley Crawl is so a whole bunch of bands that you've never heard of playing at all these different, venues are in the valley, like Black Bear Lodge and
This is in Brisbane.
Susie
Okay.
Wong's and
I thought it was something in
so
Melbourne based on the
no, it's on Saturday night, and it's in the valley, and I've been sent a Spotify list of bands that I need to listen to between now and Saturday, and
Any
I'll go
country?
and absolutely not, no,
Yeah,
not one, not one skerrick of country, maybe some folk,
I could get around some. I could get around some folk.
yeah,
Folk country.
um,
Folk/country.
folk rock.
Okay. All right.
It's
I'm
that's
going to take
as
the
good
hat
as
off just for the
it's good,
audio.
yeah,
I
okay.
put my hat on when I said country,
It's
but I'm taking it off now
yeah,
because you went to folk rock.
yeah, that's fair enough.
Right.
And so yeah, a whole bunch of the zoo, whole bunch of things. I'm just going to go listen to some bands I've never seen before and just discover something new. You never
That's
know.
so much fun. How is the zoo still going? That's mental. That is still a thing.
Oh, it's I don't know. It's good venue. Good
There's a lot
bands
of good
there and
venues
everything
in
like
the valley. It's very cool.
that. Yeah, it's good. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it should be pretty good.
Nice.
What's that? What was the elephant in the room?
Oh, wait. No. Oh, no. Oh, that? No. Wait, can I pitch my new tagline for our podcast?
Please.
Noise, not news.
Yeah, that's what I saw. You said that to Pico the other day. Oh my God, I just pissed myself laughing. It was like, I think the slogan should be Boss and the Brewer. We're not news, we're noise.
Yeah. Yeah. I think we can run with that. It's not offensive.
I think it's good. Yeah, we are so noise. Yeah. So, yeah, even though there's no Brews news anymore and that sort of thing, please, for the love of God,
you said
do
it.
not look at us for news. We are not news, we are noise. And
No, yes,
we're
exactly.
still two dickheads on a Zoom call on a
No,
Thursday night.
I don't think the uptick on the Boston Brewer podcast is going to be a whole lot after the Brews news.
Look, as long as it goes up in increments of 12, I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
So
All right. Anyway, you said it.
yeah,
Brews
that
news
was
is
the
no
elephant
more.
in the room.
It
Yeah,
was.
Brews news is no more. That was quite surprising, to be fair. I was a little bit shocked to hear about that, but had a really good listen to what was it, episode 451 of the Brews News podcast, the last episode. And yeah, it was interesting to hear Matt's perspective around why he decided to call it a day and that sort of thing. Um, it's certainly left a big hole in the brewing industry landscape to not have like journalistic news and that sort of thing. And it sounded like that Matt was going through quite a bit of burnout, I'd suppose you'd call it.
Mm.
Like so many industry veterans who just go through burnout and stuff like that, and I guess he just decided to pull the pin, and
It was
which is
quite
a
a
bit.
sad episode. Not sad, but it was an emotional episode to listen to.
Oh, look, I mean, Matt's put a lot of effort into Brews News over the years, and he's done an amazing job. And I've been a sponsor of Brews News since I started Rockstar, and because just despite the fact that we've had our differences over the years and that sort of thing, still have a high level of respect for what he for what he did, and was happy to support that. And I guess if if I was to sort of focus on the things have that Matt has done that has personally affected myself and lots of people around me, and that would be what the coverage, I think it was back in 2017 or 2018, around BrewDog coming to Brisbane, or being lured to Brisbane by the state government, and raising the awareness of the fact that BrewDog was given all these incentives to come to Brisbane, yet the local industry was being largely ignored on many fronts. And it was that coverage that really sort of kicked off the Queensland Craft Brewing Strategy study, which then became a strategy from the Queensland state government, which then, of those things that were in the Queensland Craft Brewing Strategy, access to education was one of the key things, and in my opinion, the most successful part of the Queensland Craft Brewing Strategy, because lots of other things have sort of not had the desired effect, like better liquor licensing, although it has improved slightly, not as good as what it could be. Access to export markets, you know, and also changes to town planning and stuff like that, which really not too much has happened with that. And
There was the artisanal license was part of it, wasn't it?
the artisanal license was part of it, and we don't have the situation now where wineries can serve wine at a farmer's market, but breweries can't serve beer. And those days are
Mind
gone.
you,
And
I
that's
remember when that came out. Not this is a bit of a tangent, but I remember when that came out, I was thinking there's not going to be too many breweries that are just going to rock up and start selling beer at markets. And to be honest, I go to the
no,
markets regularly. I haven't seen too many. I don't think I've seen any
no,
breweries.
no, exactly.
But the other stuff, the education is the big part of that. I think
That's
the
the
biggest
that,
part is
and
the education.
that's the one that's been sort of the most successful aspect of it. And if you fast forward to today and you have a look at the industry in Southeast Queensland and the people who are now currently working in the industry who have directly benefited from the education and the TAFE program and stuff like that, I was looking at I'm on the organising committee for the Royal Queensland Beer Awards, and looking at the list of judges, and like nearly a quarter of the judges are graduates of the TAFE program and that sort of thing.
That's cool.
And that's a huge achievement, to see that these people have been educated, gone out to the industry, gotten jobs in the industry, and are now themselves working for the betterment of the industry and donating their time and stuff like that. That's none of that would have happened, but for Matt and Brews News, because Matt did such a good job of raising awareness of the fact that the local craft brewing industry was largely neglected, and then a multinational was lured to Brisbane. That it really got the attention of the Department of State Development
Mm.
to the point where I've had conversations with people in the Department of State Development, and they're talking to me, saying, "Just put in a good word for us to Matt," and I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
So, Matt, if you're listening, mate, I completely understand why you have decided to hang up your hat for the Brews News hat and that sort of thing. Burnout is a real thing in many aspects of the industry and stuff like that. You've done a great job, and thank you for your contribution to the industry. You've left a massive hole, and don't know how that's going to get filled, but time will tell, I would imagine. So, yeah.
Nice. What's the chance of Matt listening to our podcast, do you think? I know this is the first
Probably.
couple of episodes, and then I think he
I
stopped
don't know.
listening.
If Matt doesn't listen, then probably Ian or Sabrina might listen. Hi. I
like the fact that he had Ian on. I like Ian. He's cool. I like that he had Ian on the
yeah,
last podcast, and he was sort of the person that was there when he started it, and then he was
yeah.
there at the
It was
end.
really interesting, actually. I actually had an article open, which from on Brews News, old historical one that Richard Adamson from Young Henry's posted, which
Yeah.
was called "Not in My Backyard," and oh no, it said "Yes in My Backyard." Sorry,
Is a link? I think I might
and
have seen this.
and yeah, let me grab the link for you. Yeah, oh, here we go. Uh, Let me see if I can get it. brewsnews.com.au. Is it yes in my backyard? Please in my backyard. There we go. Look at this photo of fucking
I got it.
Richard Adamson. There you go. I just stuck that in the Zoom
Whoa!
chat
No,
there,
I
mate.
got it already. Oh, good. Wow.
Look at him.
Growing the facial hair was a good move, I think.
Oh my God, he just looks so much more dapper now. Um, and that sort of thing. But you're reading that article, right? Like this is from the 16th of February 2011, right? So it's a what is it? A fucking 13-year-old article,
Mm.
right? And that's a 13-year-old Richard Adamson there.
Yeah.
And the style of writing is just so different and so refreshing,
Yeah,
and I like that style of writing. It was
definitely.
just, it was just such a really, it was just, yeah, it was just speaking from the heart and all that sort of stuff. It was more like a blog than it was news and that sort of thing. So,
Yeah. Yeah, I
so
what
I've,
I mean, what struck me listening to, and that was a really nice tribute you just gave. I don't want to kind of turn it into a negative thing, but when I listened to his episode, I found myself agreeing with. I found it sort of reinforced a lot of the things we'd said on here about just the fact that it felt like Brews News had gotten a bit cynical about the industry, and
yes,
he basically said it in those words on that podcast. And if you look
yes,
at that writing you're looking at there compared to the recent stuff, or the
yes,
lack of recent stuff which you've commented on, um, it didn't surprise me actually, and
yeah,
I think it to me it makes a lot of sense if you look at how impossible the media business is. If you look at the fact that this website has to exist because these businesses who he has to cover has to pay him,
yeah,
for it to exist. It's almost like it's a really impossible situation. And
yes, and
I
he, and
think
he's he, in the conversations that I've had with him, that's a very constant theme is that he doesn't want to have ads all over the website and that sort of thing, like like the Murdoch media and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Nor does he want to put things behind a paywall or anything like
Right.
that as well.
But what do you do? I mean,
Um,
it's really like the media that exists now, it's either only just clickbait shite or it is paywall stuff. But to be honest,
yeah.
even the paywall stuff, like if you look at, I used to be a subscriber to the Australian Financial Review, and you look at some of the content they put in there, um, especially the content about breweries and the beer industry, it's not
Yeah.
worth paying for. It's complete shite.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
so how many people will actually, and in a niche as small as the brewing industry, when you've got like I don't know what 500-600 actual companies that are actual brewers, and then there's an industry outside of that, but it's not huge. It's not a big
Yes.
industry. How many are you going to pay to just read the content? It's tough. It's super tough business
Yeah.
model. But
Yes.
I think he had gotten pretty cynical, and I think we commented on that a little bit. But listen, it gave it a lot more perspective when you listen to that episode, because I think he identified that in himself, basically saying, thinking about an article like that one you just pointed to from 10 years ago, and thinking
Mm.
about the type of stuff he covers now. Um, the crowdfunding companies not communicating with their investors, treating their investors like they're nobodies, the companies that sell out
Yep.
and invent all these words for the sale that completely go against everything they've always been
Yes.
told. It's like the space that he loved, found to love, has turned into the group of that he hated. You know what I mean? Like it was sort of like,
Yes.
and that's I just related so much to that, because I think it really, I feel the same thing when we come on this podcast and we get these lists of 5 negative articles and we have this
Yep.
conversation. We're like, well, fuck, how do we have a conversation here that's not negative? It's really fucking hard.
Yeah.
And when he's the
Yeah.
news
Look.
source, he has to either do a bad news story about people that he's friends with, people that pay
Yes.
him, or
Yes.
not do it and get criticized for not doing it. And
Yes.
it's a pretty fucking tough situation.
Yeah. Of course. Yeah. Yeah. I get that. Yeah. Yeah. 100%. Um. So clearly, it's left a gap in the media landscape. What how does that need get filled? And
I think
if you
there's,
have a look
I
at
honestly
Crafty
think there's a
Pint's
bigger
always been
bigger gap in
something
the
that's
podcast landscape after they wrap up,
yes.
because I think
Yeah.
the content had died down in terms of the volume of the actual content of original content on that site,
Yes. Yeah.
especially after
Yeah.
Claire left. I thought
Yes.
it really was kind of not the same.
No.
But the podcast kept going, and there's still, Crafty Pint don't do a podcast. There's really very few breweries do podcasts. There's a
Yes.
couple ones like ours that kind of like a couple of dudes having a chat. But the industry needs some podcasts, and that's where I
Yes.
think there's an opportunity for Crafty Pint or someone else to step in and kind of
Somebody.
take that
Yeah.
over. Or the
Exactly.
IBA. I mean, if the IBA was capable of something like that, that would be great. I don't think they are,
Uh,
but that would be the
no.
perfect people to be able to pull that off.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, kind
Um,
of like, you've got like the Master Brewers Association podcast, and that's a good podcast run by an industry organization, and we should probably have the same here.
yeah.
And it would be great to see the IBA do something like that. But
Well,
uh,
Brewbound do have the subscription model in America. I mean, America's just so different to Australia in terms of the amount and the size of the market. It's very different, but
yes,
they do run the subscription model. They've got a podcast. They seem to pull that off reasonably well. Australia would be so hard to pull that off, but
yeah,
um, that
yeah.
I
Could
think
it be
that was the other
done?
reason why I wasn't surprised about the news, because this year when we were sort of tossing around the idea of doing a prediction episodes, I wrote down a few predictions, and I didn't read them out on the show because I thought they would just be so negative. It would just be shithouse. But one of
Right.
the
Yeah.
predictions was that the IBA would collapse in
Yes.
2024. And I know
Mhm.
you're probably not going to want to entertain that prediction because you're loosely involved in the thing. But I think
Mm.
these associations and like the Brews News and the IBA, I think they're just going to fucking struggle. And
Yeah.
IBA
Well,
more so than Brews News, I think. But
well,
I
I
think
think
this
that I
is
think
another
yeah,
example.
well, exactly. But the cracks are showing with regards to that, with the IBA because I got the email this week that BrewCon 2024 in Perth has been cancelled.
Yeah, and that's not the fourth event in the last year or so that's been
Well,
year and a half's been cancelled
yeah,
by the
it's like,
IBA.
well, BrewCon got cancelled for like 4 years. It's 2019, and then 2023 was the next one. And this year's one in Perth got cancelled this
But
week.
then it's also the Good
And
Beer Week, and the Indies was
well,
cancelled at a
exactly. So,
time when it
but
didn't need to
IBA
be.
owns Good Beer Week, and
Yeah.
it's that in itself is very disappointing. Because the IBA, they said in the email that they wanted to make sure they wanted to focus on lobbying efforts and all that sort of stuff, and I just, I think that's quite even in that regard, you got to, I got to get a good idea as to what the lobbying efforts are at the national level at the moment.
Is Richard so Richard, who we're just talking about, who used to look 13 and
Yeah.
now is much more handsome, is he still the chair of the IBA?
No,
No.
no, I think it's
Who's the
Pete from Wayward. I think it is. Let me have a look. Let's have a look. Here we go. Board and governance. Richard is the chairperson. Richard Watkins is the chairperson. Then Cal from Kaiju is
so
the
Richard's been the chair for I think at least 3 years.
something like that. And
I'm
then
pretty
Cal
sure.
from Kaiju, and then Ev from Bright Brewery.
Yeah.
Matt Shortle from Great Ocean Road Brewing. Chris Safala from Local Brewing Company. And Richard's still on the board. He's a board advisor.
Who?
Richard Adamson.
He's the chair. He's the chair of the IBA.
No, he's not. No, Richard Watkins from Benspoke is the chair.
Oh, okay.
Richard
Got it.
Adamson is
Richard
the
Watkins is the chair of the IBA. Oh, there you go.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I get it. Okay. So, all right. So the IBA, these are the two reasons why I think, and you tell me if you think these are silly. One goes back to their decision to kick out all of the non-independent brewers, which was obviously at the time
That's a long time ago.
It's a long time ago, but I remember when it happened, and it was at a time when craft beer was booming, and now it's a time when craft beer is struggling. And if you think about how many independent brewers have gone from independent to non-independent during that time, and you think about the revenue that would have been generated by the previous one, like Chuck Hahn was at the meeting a few months before, at our workspace a few months before that happened.
Yes.
I mean, if you consider all of that and the Stone and Woods and the Bolters, like these are the companies, it costs a shitload of money to be a member of the IBA.
When you're that size, yeah, exactly.
When you're that size. So you take all of that out, and then what you're left with is the medium-sized brewers who are all up against the majors and the supermarkets with unlimited budgets.
Yes.
And then you have the small brew pubs.
Yeah.
So the medium ones are struggling financially. They probably can't afford to be members of the IBA. The small brew pubs either get very little benefit from being a member of the IBA because they're not doing much packaged product, and the seal doesn't really do much for them. Plus, if they did join, it costs them bugger all anyway. So the IBA gets no money from that.
Yeah, and the seal doesn't say beer.
Okay, the seal doesn't say beer. Plus, you can just put a seal on your product. I mean, I'm doing a rebrand of the coffee business, and it says locally roasted, locally owned. There's nothing stopping me from saying
certified independent coffee.
I mean, I could say independent. I don't particularly like the word, but you're saying the same thing.
Yeah, and, of course.
So I think the IBA is really going to struggle. And I don't know. I sort of think about other industries and think like, does the beer industry need the IBA? There is a beer association already. I don't know.
Yes.
Are they particularly active? I know the IBA have awards, but there's also plenty of other awards, way more in a lot of industries I know. They've got the conference. There's other conferences, but
well, BrewCon was probably the biggest conference, and that's why I found it very strange that they cancelled that because, it's having been they had a lot of demand for their trade show space and that sort of thing. They were oversubscribed with the one on the Gold Coast and stuff like that. And
I remember it being surprisingly expensive too, right? Was that
it was very expensive to be there. Yeah. But that's fine. Happy to support it and that sort of thing. And it was it was worthwhile going, provided you were a member of the IBA. So, you
Yeah.
know, this year, there being no BrewCon, then it makes you question the value of an IBA membership as an associate member, like not as a supplier to the industry. Do you know what I
I think
mean?
everyone, we had this conversation a few months ago on the show. There was a thread in a Facebook group saying, why should I join the IBA? And there was
Yeah.
very, very little comments suggesting why you
Yeah.
should actually do it. Which I'm not
I'm
saying
just
either way, it's a good or a bad
no, no,
thing,
no,
but
no. And I think I'm just not quite sure what and I'm not quite sure what the lobbying efforts are at the moment. I read all the emails that are sent, and I don't know what the lobbying efforts are that they decided to focus on.
yeah.
Um,
Would you think that
at the
BrewCon would be their main way of making money? I mean,
No,
obviously
the indies
membership,
are
but okay,
the indies are
right.
right, because if you're going to charge $300 a beer and get 1,600 beers entered,
A lot of
you know,
volunteers, right?
a lot of volunteers that the judges volunteer, a few days accommodation, bit of food, bit of beer, all that sort of stuff. It makes good money,
Yeah.
and that's still going ahead. And the weird thing is that's still going to go ahead in Perth. So
That's
you
another
know,
conversation. I saw a lot of chatter about
well,
that in
that's the
the
thing. It's
Facebook
like
group.
what's the point of having the indies in Perth? It's not a public event. It's not up to the public. And all these East Coast breweries are now got to send their beer over to the West Coast and that sort of thing. And I know we don't want to exclude the West Coast. I used to live in Perth. I get it. You know,
So did you see the
yes,
comments in our group? We have a Facebook group for anyone listening, facebook.com
yes,
/groups/Boss and the Brewer. And
yes,
there was some pretty good conversations in there around this particular topic because we had people from WA basically countering that, saying that A, all the WA breweries have been coming over to the East Coast the entire time and bringing
yes,
their beers over and footing the bill for that. But B, there's some kind of collective arrangement over there where the local association will help breweries with the shipping
yes.
for
That's
the
right.
beers, which is I don't you may know this. I don't know if that's a thing. I know breweries used to get together with shipping costs for awards, but I don't know if there's a local association that actually pays for that. I don't think there
No,
is. No.
there's WABA, there's West Australian Brewers Association.
No, but in Queensland.
No, we don't have a state-based association.
No. Okay. Right.
Um, and I think there should be.
Maybe that's where it goes then, state-based. What do WABA do?
Well, exactly. They look out for things that. Well, this is the thing, right? Is that like a state-based organization would make a lot of sense because there are a lot of issues which are just state-based. Like taking the thing that I'm intimately familiar with is education. Well, all it takes is state-based. It's very difficult to expect a national organization to be across all of the vocational educational needs when they're delivered by the states.
Yeah.
And so that makes it very challenging for the IBA. There are things that are relevant to the IBA, in regards to excise, food for sands, all that sort of stuff are federal issues, which the IBA should take ownership and cover. We've got things like pregnancy labeling. We've got upcoming things around nutritional panels and all that sort of stuff on labels, which is a complete pain in the ass. That is the IBA's realm, 100%. But I think for things like education, which is delivered by the states, liquor licensing, which is done by the states, town planning, which is state and local government, state governments providing direction to local government. These things need to fall to state-based organizations. And like we've tried to put together, for example, like over the years, a certificate 4 or a diploma, that's the next step up from the certificate 3 that we've already delivered on here.
Yeah.
And there's been a lot of work with regards to trying to make a national curriculum around this certificate 4. But what's been happening is New South Wales has gone and started their own certificate 4. Queensland wants to do a diploma. And it's just, and this is the thing. So don't
That's
try
such a
and put.
shame. It's just such a it
No,
just it
no,
makes
not
perfect sense for a
not at
national
all.
qualification for brewing.
Of course it does. But the thing is that you're trying to put a square peg in a round hole if you're trying to shoehorn it that way, right? Because it's not delivered nationally, right?
Yeah.
Vocational education and training can be delivered by TAFE, which is a government, they're all state government based organizations, but brewing education can be delivered by private RTOs as well.
Right, but no federal laws are policed nationally. They're all, well, very few.
What do you mean?
Well, there's federal laws that exist that are managed locally, and that's a problem that local governments are able to solve.
For sure.
Yeah, so
And
it
but
couldn't
yeah,
be.
like I said, there's some things that the IPA can take take the ball and run with it. Like excise reform and food labeling through for sands and all that sort of stuff. Right? That's totally their realm, but not state-based stuff like education. It's just like every state's just doing something different. We've tried to coordinate it. I just don't think it works.
Yeah.
Why should we continue beating our heads against a brick wall when things would work better if a state based organization and the local breweries were talking directly to the state government?
Yeah,
Makes sense.
if that's the situation and the constraints you're working with, it makes
Yeah.
sense to do your best with what you're working
Yeah.
with. I will say, like, if you think running a business is hard, running a non-profit or being like a president on the board of a non-profit it's so fucking hard. I've done it myself, not in this industry, another one, and I know I had a couple of chats with Jamie Cook when he was the IBA president, and
Yeah.
he, the story was he was kind of moving out of Stone and Wood, and he came to our because we used to do meetups. We used to have like the chapters. Remember that? You have like a
Yes.
Queensland chapter. I don't. It mustn't be a thing anymore, but it was a thing.
Well, I think we tried to turn that into a state-based organization,
Yeah.
but just haven't done it. Also, there's VAMI as well, the Victorian something microbrewers something, and that's I don't know what's going on with that. But we need state-based organizations in addition to the federal stuff, just to deliver on state-based issues.
Yeah. I think the unless the excise system changes, I think it really favors that local sort of brew pub model, and it almost disadvantages the people in between.
There's lots of work that needs to be done at the state level, right? That the IBA just can't or won't address, right? And we still have issues in Queensland with regards to liquor licensing, right? We still have issues with beer and liquor licensing in this state, okay? And the hotel lobby has been, has been lobbying against some of the reforms that the brewing industry has tried to lobby for at the state level. But which is the hotel lobby group? It's the QHA, the Queensland Hotels Association. There's the Australian Hotels Association. There's the Queensland Hotels Association. They're separate lobby groups because they lobby on different issues. And I think the brewing industry needs to have its own thing, the state-based thing. Makes sense.
But to finish my thought on the local brew pub, I think if you're starting, if the excise favors a local brew pub and you're just a little brew pub, you care about the product, but really you're a hospitality business. Like think about we always talk about Hiker, but Hiker is a really good example of that. Do you need an association? Like, is your business more of a hospitality business than it is a manufacturing business that cares about excise? Like,
well, it's both.
It is both, but I think like does a business like I don't know whether they're members or not, but I'll say this, if I'm starting off from scratch now and it's going to be a small local brew pub, I'm not joining the IBA and I'm not even thinking about any of these things. I'm thinking about what the rules are and thinking about how to make money in that rule set.
Yes.
And
exactly.
If that's the way the industry is going, which I think it is, it's going to favor those kind of operations. Then a national association to me doesn't make sense in that environment.
Yeah, it's relevant, but I think the IBA probably needs to just focus on the national issues and that sort of thing. There's a lot of things that could happen if there was a state-based brewing organization here. Case in point, like the IBA buying Good Beer Week, right? And they've done nothing with it.
No,
Nothing.
I said at the time it was a terrible idea. It's a fucking
You know?
running events has got to be up there with running an association in terms of the most
Yeah.
difficult things you could possibly do.
What about running events for an
Oh
association?
my God. There's no way that was ever going to work. It's way too hard.
And
Oh
then
man.
there you go. And that's the thing. That's why BrewCon got cancelled this year and that sort of thing. And
Yeah.
maybe BrewCon needs to become a private thing, not run by the
Yeah, I
IBA.
mean, I think when there's commercial incentives, I think things get efficient pretty quickly. But
Yeah.
whether or not there is enough commercial sort of intent, I mean, there might be. I mean, with people, there was obviously a lot of companies who are prepared to sponsor Brews News that are probably looking to places to throw their money. Maybe there's an opportunity to get those sort of companies that supply
Yeah.
the industry to put
I
some
mean, I
money into
remember my
something like that.
first thing that was even, like remotely representative of BrewCon before BrewCon was a thing, was probably the old Beer and Brewer Expo, and it was mostly consumer facing. And I remember going to the first one, I think in 2009 or something like that, in out at Flemington, and that was kind of educational and all that sort of stuff. This is pre Good Beer Week, pre CBIA, pre everything like that. And yes, it was very consumer focused. Jeez, there was some fucking weird shit there. It was like back in the day where you could have um a beer brand called PI 55
Okay, I get it.
or
Yeah, got
Piss,
it.
yeah,
Yep,
right.
yep.
And then they did their light beer called Piss Wheat.
Okay, yep,
That's what it was like back in the day.
yep.
We've matured a bit since then, I think. I'd like
A
to
little
hope
bit took
so.
a while, but
Yeah,
eventually got there.
yeah. And yeah, so I don't know. I just sense that there's some change that needs to happen.
Do you think, like, if I think about the alcohol space, I think like one of the biggest, because there's like the media stories on why the beer industry is struggling, which always cover the same shit, talk about excise and all the rest of it. But when I think about why it's struggling, there's a few different reasons, but one of them is just the sheer fact that there are other parts of the industries around, alcohol for starters, but other substances that people enjoy to kind of alter their state of
Yeah.
being. But even
Yes.
if you just put alcohol aside, there's so much more innovation and change in the products that are available that it's almost like, when beer came out, there was like a whole bunch of people that were beer people. They're like beer nerds. It
Yeah.
was like a
Yeah.
massive thing. Like we used to have lineups down the street for when we bring out a new beer.
Yes.
But now it's kind of like, well, if you want to have a drink of alcohol, there's so much, and even in our group, there's hard solo, there's wines, there's so many different options.
Yeah.
I think that the group of people who are just kind of beer people, I think is shrinking. And
Do you think
that's
they've got burnout as well?
I think burnout. I think there's way more options, and it's just kind of there's a lot of things. I mean, even just the freshness thing, just the
Mm.
amount of
Mm.
different products, the other products that are available. I don't know. I don't think that side of things has anything to do with excise at all. I just think there's a lot more
Mm.
else
Mm.
available. And
Yeah.
there's also like a lack
Well,
of there's a lack of innovation and not to blame the breweries, but there was a time where you could bring out a hazy IPA and it would go nuts. And then you'd bring out a
yes.
slightly different version of that hazy IPA
And it's
and
still
it
go
would also
nuts.
go
Yeah.
nuts. And that was probably 5 years ago.
Mm.
But there's a lot of breweries now, that's all they do. They bring out like another
Yes.
hazy IPA because that's the
Yes.
only thing people will buy. And then it's kind of like, well, do you really need another hazy
That's all
IPA
you
with a
do,
slightly
then
different
yeah.
hop?
Yeah. I don't know. I think that yeah. I mean, I guess what you're sort of saying is that the innovation has dropped off a bit, and like I said last week on my trip to Toronto and that sort of thing, they're still innovating there,
Mm.
and it's exciting.
But it was a hospitality example, wasn't
But it
it?
was yeah, exactly. But it was
Yeah.
innovating on the back of hospitality and recognizing it.
But
There's
that's what
nothing
I
wrong
think.
with
That's what
that.
I think we're moving to. I think we're moving to
Of
a model
course,
where
there's
you
nothing wrong
make it
with that.
locally and you have a hospitality experience, and that's the
Yeah,
differentiator. And that is
yeah,
awesome
exactly.
because if you think
Yeah,
about the most fun things, if I reflect on the most fun things of having a brewery, it was things we did at the venue, and it
yeah,
was the awards. I think the awards
yes,
were a really big part of it, and that's
yeah,
why we don't have that in coffee. Like we don't have a thing where we'll bring something new out and then we'll have a big party. We don't have a
Yes.
thing where we will have a bunch of awards and everyone will come and drink some beer and catch up. This is like a unique beer thing. Other
Yes.
industries do not have this. And
Yes.
if I reflect on the most fun things, those are the two things that I miss the most. I still miss the
Yes.
most. And they can still exist if the whole model sort of moves to small local brew pubs, because you would
Yes.
have your hospitality experience, but you'd also be
Yep.
making new products. And as long as someone is out there doing awards, and and there's already at
And
least
we've got
three
and we've
big
got that
ones.
covered. Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've got that covered.
So
Yeah.
it could be almost in a way just as good, but there's just not there's no dream anymore of slaying the dragon of CEB and Asahi. Like
No, they won
that's
that.
sorry, Asahi in line. Yeah.
No, they won.
Mm.
That's fact. Is
Yeah.
that the big boys won. Call it craft washing or whatever it happened to be, and that sort of thing. They well and truly won that, and they did it, and it cost them a lot of money, but they won. And they the duopoly of Lion and Asahi have the craft brewing industry in a space where it is in Australia, at least, it's impossible for the craft beer market to grow above 10% of total beer market share.
Plus, if you add in the duopoly of Coles and Woolies at the retail level, it's an environment that is basically impossible. It was only ever possible when they weren't making great products with great brands themselves, and now they are, and it is impossible. But and I think the big thing is it's going to result in a lot of people leaving the industry, because there's a lot of people that were attracted to that industry because of the love and the joy and everything that comes with beer, but also the opportunity, the financial opportunity, the possibility of creating a startup that sold for lots and lots of money, and we didn't like to talk about it, but there's a lot of people in the industry who wanted to create a great business that made a lot of money and sold.
Yes.
And there's going to be a whole lot less of those people. So yeah, whether that's a good or bad thing, I don't know. I think a more local thing for beer may be just the right direction.
Yeah, I agree.
What's next?
What about
this list is bad. If you got a way to make this more positive, it's real bad. The whole thing is
okay.
bad.
Well, what about the let's talk about Formula One.
Okay.
Talk about Formula One.
Yeah, all right. Fuck the
I have had, and I actually want to before we talk about that elephant in the room, right?
Right.
I would like to talk about. I'm having a little bit of withdrawals from Formula One.
Yeah.
And
100%.
I know all the car reveals are starting now and all that sort of thing, which is fucking great. When's the test day in Abu Dhabi? It's like the couple of weeks' time or so like that. Bahrain or whatever it is.
There's a few podcasts out if you're into it, but yeah, it's tough.
Yeah, no. What I'm asking, and I'm going to throw this out to the 12, is I've got a KO subscription and there's some classic races on there and that sort of thing. Give me a classic race I should watch in the meantime.
Oh, wow.
Just to fill in the gap until the 2024 season starts. Because I would like to, just get some classics. I've heard some good stuff about the 2010 season, and all that sort of thing.
2010, that was. I'm not very good at recalling these.
All the old V10s and all that sort of stuff, Alonso and Hamilton and Kimi Raikkonen and Schumacher coming back. After retiring and coming back.
It sounds like you're talking about a whole bunch of drivers who moved to Ferrari when they were 40 and did fuck all.
Yeah. Yeah, right. Like Lewis.
Yeah.
Yeah. How do you feel about that?
I think it's a big nothing burger. I think nothing's going to happen. I'm actually really surprised by the reaction to it. I think everyone is really shocked about it and so excited about this whole thing. Like the dude's 40.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think he's gonna
40. Second thing is Ferrari absolutely suck.
Yep.
So there's that. Yep. And then third thing is Charles Leclerc is probably he could be the best quality driver on the grid. Yes. He's very close to the best driver on the grid. I mean, no one's Max, but he's going to be Charles Leclerc's teammate in his absolute prime. They're
Yes.
not going to be competing for race wins most likely because Ferrari suck. So they'll be
Mm.
judged on their qualifying performance. Leclerc is the best qualifier on the grid.
Mm.
He's going to smoke Lewis.
Yes.
Lewis will be old.
Yes.
And the whole thing will be a fucking joke, like it was when all the other old people moved to Ferrari and
Yeah.
did nothing.
Yeah. Yeah. But I think from Lewis's perspective, who wouldn't want a seat in a Ferrari
Why?
as part of
Why?
your
Why is
career?
this a thing? Fuck Ferrari, they're
Oh, it's the
shit.
heritage and all that sort of thing.
Oh man, I don't
It's the
get it.
heritage, right?
They're a shit team, and I don't know. Does the future really look good for a brand like Ferrari? The way the car
Yeah.
industry is going, like if I was gonna back Mercedes or Ferrari with the way the car industry is going with
Yes.
electrification and everything else and
Yes.
technology, and I wouldn't be. I don't know.
Well, I
I
don't
wouldn't
know
be
if
going anywhere
Ferrari
near
make an
Ferrari.
electric car.
Probably not. They just make shit, slow petrol cars, and they lose races for bad reasons. And
Mm.
yeah,
Strategy.
the more interesting thing is who's
It's
going to replace him at Mercedes. To me, that is more interesting.
agreed. Yeah, what are the options? Is fucking Checo going? Oh, no, who is it? Science going to pick up the phone to Bono and go, "Hello, Bono."
I think science is. The other thing about Ferrari is their bad choice of drivers.
Yeah.
Like they paid Vettel an enormous amount of money that was apparently this massive game changing thing, and everyone's really excited about it. Did absolutely fuck all.
Mm.
Got science when he was a teammate with Lando. He was close, but Lando was the better of the two, and has
Mm.
proven to be the better of the two since.
Yes.
They're going to get rid of this guy that they got only a couple of years ago to put
Yes.
in a much older driver who's only neck and neck with his teammate.
Yes.
Fucking stupid. The
And
whole thing is
Russell's
stupid.
Russell's been crushing it as well in the Mercedes. So
Science is actually a good choice. I mean, Science might be a better driver in the Mercedes than Lewis over the next
could be
five,
Mick
6 years.
Schumacher gets fucking Hamilton's seat. He's been waiting in the wings.
True, but he sucks a little bit. Apparently, there's some
Yeah,
young 17-year-old guy who's in like F4 or something that's like an absolute gun.
like a bit of savant.
Yeah, have you heard about this guy?
No, what's his name?
Something that ends in E, like Andretti or Adrali or something,
Yeah,
some shit like that.
yeah,
But
right.
I think he's 17, which is the age Max was when he entered in Formula One. But Max is a freak. But he's won everything. They're going to elevate him to F2, skip
Right.
a division or whatever they
Yeah.
call it, and he's
Yeah.
driving in the top team. So if he does really well next year, he'll be 18 going into 2025, which is when the change happens. So
Yeah.
but then you got Russell and this 18-year-old. That doesn't seem like a
Yeah.
Mercedes thing to do.
I think Science will probably go to rally like his dad.
Science would be a good choice. He's fucking good. We love
Yeah.
Science.
Yeah.
Are you sad
Pretty
that he's
good.
lost his drive? Because he's kind of your guy, isn't
Science.
he?
Oh, look, I'm just your typical average disappointed Ferrari fan.
You
Who
picked
really should
Science to
be.
win the world title this
Yeah.
year. You
Uh-huh.
started the year with a really, really bad, because we have a bet going,
Yes.
the over-under. You started atrociously,
Yes.
but you came back in massive fashion last week with the Gabs and you took out 3 points
Yes, that's right.
and the lead. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, we'll see what happens.
Should we do some? Oh, wait, are we completely skipping the news? Or
Oh, look. Oh, one thing we will mention, because there is no other form of news, and we should probably say that, is entries for the Australian International Beer Awards are now open. Go and enter, put your beer in, all that sort of stuff, and go and mix it with the best of the best of the best
yes,
in the biggest
love the
competition in the
ages
Southern Hemisphere,
if you can afford it.
if you can afford it.
All right, I'm gonna skip Hendo Reacts for now. We'll see how we go with 12 questions
Right.
because I've just had a look and the reach has 144. The reach on the post,
Right.
which is a multiple of 12. So I feel
Good.
like that's a sign.
Yeah.
All right, question number 1. Matt Ham, another sad one. Thirsty cow up for sale. I'm not familiar with Thirsty Cow. That's
Thirsty Crow
sorry. Thirsty Crow, expanding the
in
link.
Wagga.
Thirsty Crow up for sale, Wagga.
Yeah.
Up to 13 years. Do you know this brewery?
Yeah, I used to sell beer to them when I had BrewCon. I'd
I
buy
don't
a
even know
pallet
where
of
Wagga
kegs.
is.
It's in rural New South Wales, just north of Albury, Wodonga.
Okay, so it's like it's more
Couple
of
hours.
a venue.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It's one of the old school breweries and that sort of thing. And I just want an exit, you know? Why not?
Hmm. I mean, if
They used to get
the
their milk
founders want to
stout and the
leave
hottest
type thing.
100. Like, they used to get their milk stout in the top 10 all the time and the Gab's hottest 100.
Wow, that's pretty cool. So the
Hmm.
question from Matt is: do you think there is still a place for regional small town breweries if they scale, site, and capacity? And if you recall, Stone and Wood was the kind of the big user of the regional brewery term. That was the word they always used to use.
Yeah, but the way in which they talked about being a regional brewery was in terms of distribution, not being a brew pub, though.
No, correct. But his question is: do you think there's still a place for regional small town breweries if they scale, site, and capacity? I'm going to just say no and ask you what do you think.
It's the only way, I think, as a brew pub, yes, but not as a production brewery. It just
Right.
doesn't make economic sense.
Yeah.
The only breweries, which you can turn into a destination brewery is something that's in a regional area.
Right. But the question is, well, I guess he said no, like I said no. The question is,
Yeah.
could you start in a regional area and turn it into a full scale brewery? But I guess Mountain Culture is doing that exact thing, aren't they? They're kind of
Yeah.
regional.
Yeah.
Hmm. I'm still going to say
Yes.
no. I don't think it's possible.
Yes. Yeah. It is in limited terms, I think.
Yeah. All right. So this afternoon,
Yeah.
I said I put in the group because I thought, okay, I'm trying to think of ideas to make this a bit more
Right.
lighthearted than the fucking
Okay.
dog shit news items we have,
Here
which
we
there
go.
are a
Yeah.
lot. And I said, should I do a MAFS update? Right.
Absolutely not.
Well, okay, that's fair. I get it. And the message was received loud and clear. I shouldn't do a MAFS update.
Look, maths is your thing.
No, I get it. I get it. It's totally fair. Okay. But having said that, there is a question about about Jack
Rightio.
from MAFS, right? So I'll send you a photo. Tori and
Okay.
Jack. Here we go. There he is.
There's the photo.
I'll just send you a photo of him. That's all you need.
Okay.
The question is
Where's the photo? Is it in Messenger?
in no, that's in the Zoom chat. So
Oh,
so
okay.
he's one of two contestants with a man bun. Okay,
Rightio.
he's not the only one. He's
Okay.
one of two contestants with a man bun.
Right.
If Jack from MAFS was a beer, what beer would he be? I'm gonna go with Heaps Normal.
Yeah.
You got something?
Oh, with that man bun. Oh, it's hard to say, isn't it? I don't know. Kind of looks like a cider guy.
Yeah, he did. That's true. Because he likes a bit of Dickens. Oh no. All right,
Uh,
all right. Now, let's move on to the next question. Adam Shell.
oh yeah, cool. Which one?
Fucking hell, this guy. The guy. Did you? Oh no, wait. I got that for Hando reacts. Adam Shell. BrewCon cancelled for Perth. Thoughts?
We gave our thoughts.
We gave our thoughts. We're good to go with that one. Adam Shell again. Buddy Brewing is now open. Hiker Brewing turns
Is it?
one.
Yeah.
In brackets, despite Dan not even tasting Adam beer. Well, I was there on Brew Day, so slightly incorrect to say I have not tasted Adam beer, but
And
yes,
don't
that's
forget,
true.
you'll be there at next week. You'll be there next week at my birthday party.
Oh, wait, when is that?
It's next week.
Saturday.
Yeah.
Nice. I'll be there.
Yeah. Of course
We'll
you'll
be
bloody
there to drink the Adam beer.
Yeah, exactly. There's lots of people coming from all over the country to my birthday party. It should be quite the crowd, so it should
You've
be
got a
really
lot
good.
of how do you work out who gets invited to this birthday party?
I just invite everyone.
Like on Facebook, or you just send them.
That's what I did. Just did it on Facebook and all that sort of stuff. And
Yeah.
yeah.
It's quite a crew.
Yeah. So yeah, that's next week. At Hiker. So yeah, Dan and Phil have let me brew a couple of beers, New Zealand Pilsner and Black IPA, and
Ooh.
tasted those the other day.
Nice.
And they're looking pretty good.
Black
And
IPA. That's a blast from
Black
the past.
IPA with Nelson
Love
Sauvin.
that.
Yeah, fuck yeah, bring it. It was
Nice.
tasting really bloody good the other day. And
you didn't do a black one, did you? Oh,
yeah,
I feel like I should know this.
did Bug It Out, Black IPA back in the
Oh,
day.
yes. Yep.
And yeah, it's looking pretty good, and gonna have put some food on and put some beers on and come and have some fun and all that sort of thing. And yeah, should be pretty good. Got lots of
Tasty
people
Adam
coming
beer.
from got some people coming from Melbourne. I got some people coming. Kyle and is coming from
Oh, that's
Kyle and
cool.
Sarah come from Alice Springs,
Alice.
so you get to meet them in the flesh.
What about the better beer guy from Alice Springs? Is he coming along?
What better be a guy from Alice?
Remember last time we did an episode with him and Kyle was there and the guy from Better Beer was like sitting next to him.
Was it better beer?
Well, it may not have actually been Better Beer, but it definitely looked like him. He looked like the inspired unemployed guy.
Yeah, okay. I don't
Is he
know.
coming? No? All right.
Yeah, I don't know. So anyway, yeah, Kyle's coming, and I've got some of my old friends from university, from 30 years ago that are going to be there as well. When I used to live on res at Griffith University at Maracavata, Teachers College there. In fact, there's two different groups of resos that haven't seen each other in 30 years that are going to be there. And I don't think either of them know that either of them are going to be there
Right.
yet.
Have you seen
And
them in that time? You've seen them, right?
yeah, of course. Yeah. I
Right.
see
Okay.
them. I see both of them quite a bit, so
Right.
I know I see them both quite a bit, but they haven't. I know that there's like all the lads I used to live with in the same corridor. And then there's like, my mate Phil, who I drink Hollandia with. He's very well connected with loads of other resos from the other building who I was friends with as well and that sort of thing. But we sort of see each other separately, but they're all going to be there. And there's going to be some friends there from when I was, living in the UK and traveling. There's going to be some friends when I was a tour guide. So all these different people from lots of different chapters in my life are going to be there. It's going to be absolutely fascinating. So I would encourage you, Dan, to if you see someone who you'll be able to tell who's at the party because they'll have a wristband on.
Right.
Go talk to a random person.
Okay.
You'll get a very interesting story out of them.
All right. Sounds good. Yeah. Have you
It's going to be
invited the
really cool.
lady that we randomly ran into that sold the whey gin at the Pinot Palooza? Who's like, Hendo, I remember you from 50 years ago.
Oh, who the fuck was that?
Remember that? We went to the whey gin thing at Pinot Palooza,
Yeah.
and some lady's like, I remember you used to come to Fridays.
Yeah, fucking hell.
Like 30 years ago. And you didn't even work together. You were just there as a customer.
Yeah.
She remembered you.
Yeah, no, I didn't invite her.
Yeah, okay. All right.
But it's kind of like it's going to be really good. It's private event and that sort of thing. It's not open to the public because it's just going to be so many people there and that sort of thing. And I just want to mark the moment with some good friends and all that sort of thing. And
it's a big day. It's your 60th. It's a big
it
occasion.
is, yes. Well, if you're Matty Cuthbert, yes, of course it's my fucking 60th. But 10 years too early. But yeah, 50. I'm ready. Bring it.
The big milestone. The biggest, possibly. All right, Phil Sharp. IBA constitution change.
Yeah.
And should Adam Shell run to be a director? Is that like
what was the constitution change?
I don't know. Especially the cap removal. I don't know anything about this.
Oh, the volume cap. Are they looking at removing that?
Adam Shell. Problem is people think I'm always mucking around and don't see me serious side. Probably something to do with me always mucking around and not showing my serious side. Yeah, fair enough.
That's true.
Vote one Adsy. I mean, after everything we just said about the IBA, would you put Adsy forward for that? Keep doing the content. I reckon better off just keep doing the content.
Yeah, keep doing the content, Adsy.
I couldn't find his podcast on Apple. I don't know if that, you can get Joe Rogan on Apple now, and I don't think you can get Adsy's podcast on Apple.
Isn't that illegal?
What do you mean?
Didn't he get paid $100 million to be on Spotify exclusively?
100% he did. And then he got paid $250 million in the last week to be on every platform, and Spotify still pays.
How does that work?
Advertising.
Mm.
How much do we get paid for this?
Zero.
Yeah. Okay. Right.
And I don't even feel burnt out. I think it's money that gets you burnt out.
You think so?
Yeah.
Chasing money.
Chasing money, losing money, just money in general will burn you out. It's actually really interesting because like all these, lots of people getting burnt out. A lot of the peers that when I joined the industry, stepping out, changing roles, and all that sort of thing. And I very consciously chose a path that I enjoy, that keeps me involved in the industry, that I don't have to be, financially, indebted to, and that sort of thing. Of course, I run a business and that sort of thing, but I'm doing something I genuinely love, and you've just got to find your space there. I think the other thing as well is that you've got to have some interest outside of beer.
Yeah.
You have to. You've got your horse. I've got
I
my
do have a horse. I'm
motorbikes
going to
and my scooter.
put my hat on right now. Well, my
You've
interest in beer now is my interest away from work, so it's turned
Yeah,
into that. But
yeah, and that's a good thing as well,
yeah,
and for all those who are striving hard in the industry right now, just make sure you have an outlet that's not beer.
mm,
Do things that are fun. Even though I understand running a brewing business is tough and that sort of thing, but you need to have the time to switch off and do something else that's not beer. You
yeah,
know,
it is really
um,
hard. You know what makes it harder is social media because I've left the beer industry
yes,
and I have a lot of very fond memories and I left in a pretty painful fucking situation and it hurts a lot but there's just fucking constant reminders on social media
mm,
and you can't
mm.
really ever leave anything and it was just like when I ran the brewery and even when I don't, it's just non-stop on my feed. Like beer is just everywhere all the time. So it's
Yeah,
almost like you need to, and I've started unfollowing some accounts just so it's not,
so you
constant,
should.
but
Yeah,
also it's sort of just some sort of self-control where you just don't go on the apps as much or I don't know,
yeah,
like whatever it is for you that gets you away from just the constant bombarding of the same shit all the time.
yeah, yeah, exactly. This is my job. You
Yeah.
know, and that's it. I love it. I love the industry, but it's my job. Passionate
Yeah.
about it. I want to see the industry do well. It's still my fucking job.
Mm. It
I
never
will
ends too with
happily.
beer. Sorry, you
Well,
go.
I went for a ride on the motorbike the other day. It was the first time I've been on the ride on a VFR in a while. It wasn't even a big ride, but it was just good to get out on the VFR and just relax, you know.
Yeah.
Um, and just being on two wheels for me is just very nice.
Yeah. I feel the same way about
Nice.
being on the water on my boat. I have fond memories of that quite a while ago
Back
when,
last year, you mean?
when that happened.
You
Yeah.
haven't been out in your
No,
boat this year.
no. But I will say about that, like that I do miss the beer industry. There's so many fun things. There's a lot of good stuff. I'm really excited about my work at the moment. Things are going very well. And the one nice thing about the coffee industry is it does end. It's basically a morning thing. It ends.
Yes. Yes.
And we have a distribution
And you don't get a
business to
hangover.
cafes. Well, yeah, that too. Um, but the whole thing just kind of dies at 2:30 in the afternoon. Everyone
Yep.
goes home. Nothing bad can happen. Nothing fun can happen. Work is
Yep.
over pretty much. I
Yep.
mean,
Yeah.
there's obviously shit to do when you have your own business that kind of never ends. But with beer, it's like a nighttime thing. It's a daytime
Yes.
thing and a nighttime thing. And
Yes.
there's never a
Yes.
time when beer is not on your feed. Whereas like
Yeah.
to me, like coffee is like a morning thing and it's a
Yes.
work thing. By the time we get to the afternoon, it's kind of like out. It's gone. And that's
I
that's a nice
think the
thing.
the older I get, the more I love day drinking.
I love, dude, I love day
Day
drinking and
drinking is the
always
shit.
will. But
Yeah.
you day drink and then you get on Instagram later on and there's just all the people drinking beer at night time. All right. Jacob Gordon, BH getting
Oh.
another venue might be a decent topic for discussion.
Oh yeah. What was
I,
that?
I have no idea about this. I don't follow them. Don't know. But under the
There was
impression that
yeah, there was
AWOL
an
closing
announcement
doors,
that there's
things
going to
weren't
be a
going so
new
great.
new venue, and there was like a picture of my keyring.
I don't even know this. News to me. I don't follow the accounts.
Shit, really?
No, I don't. No, I don't. This is
Oh
news to
wow.
me.
Well,
I
apparently,
was getting the impression that AWOL closing doors, things weren't going so great. I don't even know. Yeah, I don't know anything about Black Ops, so I'm not going near this one.
Mm.
Do you want to comment or skip it?
Well, I've just seen a picture of my keyring. I've got one of those Black Ops Ambassador fucking keyrings, and
I
it was
do
just
too. I've still
it
got that. Mine says
was a picture of
A1.
that. Yeah, rightio.
Yeah.
Aren't you special?
No, I got an
Um,
A1 from me, Eddie and Gov, so we all had A1.
rightio. No, it's just a picture of like someone holding up the some keys with the Black Ops bottle opener keyring. So my keyring basically saying that
Hmm.
there's a new venue, but they didn't say where or when or whatever.
No
There you
idea.
go. News to you.
News to me. All right. Beer and Brew article about the increase in excise this week, further putting pressure on breweries.
Yeah, it
You
happens twice a
are,
year.
yeah, exactly.
It's all clickbait. Just
It's
whatever.
clickbait.
It's indexing. It happens.
Exactly. You know, actually, the funny thing was about that article, because I did read that before this and I didn't put it in the show notes, but it said, it had the thing in there, it said pints will go up by 90 cents and cartons will
Right?
go up by $20.
No.
This is what it said in the article. If you read that article,
Really?
it
That's
says that in the
stupid.
article. And then further down the article, it says it makes another reference to $20, which is probably right. It was something like the amount of excise paid on the average carton of beer goes to $20.
Sure.
Right? So that the
Yes.
second reference to $20 was probably the correct reference. But
Cool.
whoever
Yep.
wrote
Yep.
the article has put in at the start, beers will go up, a carton of beer will go up by $20.
Yeah.
And at this point, it's just like he
I'd
just
give up.
he just makes bullshit. Anyway, yeah, let's skip that one. All right. Oh, Luigi, 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago, someone asked when Michael was going to be back as a guest. Michael was the Polish guy who inspired the first pod
Oh,
beer. Oh,
Michael. Yeah.
yes, true. When are we get Michael for an episode 5 back in the pod? Well, I mean, we want some more
That's
guests.
actually a very, very good question. Um, and I cannot give certain details away, but we will be seeing more of Michael in 2024.
Interesting. Can I read some
Yes.
of the comments afterwards, or better not? Because you have to join the group to see the comments. Because as you said that, I read a comment that almost said exactly what you said,
Okay.
but with a little bit more detail.
Oh, what was that?
Well, it says Damien Rigby says all things going well. Yada yada yada. Watch this space.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. We will be seeing more of Michael in 2024. Much more.
Nice. Very good. Okay. Matt Ham comment colon. I like this use of the punctuation here.
Perfect. Bring
I
it back.
saw this week retailers both on and off premise putting prices up and blaming excise. Oh, go
Yeah, it
on.
happens. This happens every time, though.
Yeah, knowing that the products being buffed weren't being raised at a wholesale level. Yeah, meaning local independent brewery hasn't raised prices, but retailer has used the media attention to make some extra profit. This is the thing. Like every fucking time we get this media thing, and all the people in the industry like excise sucks, excise sucks. It actually just hurts the breweries because of this exact reason. These
Yeah.
retailers are putting up the price, breweries
Yes.
getting paid the same, and they're just making a bit more money.
Yeah.
Anyway, question: do you think the mainstream media banging on about it is a good thing? As it doesn't seem to be having any lobbying effect on the government and seems to be giving retailers an opportunity to take money out of the consumer's wallet? That's a very good question.
Yes. And yes, the retailers do take money out of the consumer's wallet because they would be buying up stock prior to the excise increase, and then just passing on that cost increase for a short period of time, but pocketing the margin. Yeah, why not?
Right,
Why
but
wouldn't
the
they?
question: do you think the mainstream media banging on about excise is a good thing?
Um, it's just clickbait. Is it a good thing? It's good to have the awareness raised of the fact that the excise is indexed twice a year, and maybe somebody will do something about it one day. Um, but yeah, that's the best you can hope for the media
Yeah.
and excise and all that sort of stuff. The biannual twice a year, 1st of February, 1st of August, CPI increase. Do we know what it is, by the way?
It was fuck all. It was just
It was
yeah,
only 2.2% or something like that,
yeah.
wasn't
It
it?
wasn't a lot, but um I think I fucking think the whole mainstream media is a complete joke, and every article about this is a joke. But part of me does think like when there's a mainstream media article about beer, which there was this week, there was one on I think Forbes. I had it in our list, but we skipped over because it was extremely
Yes.
negative. Um, People fucking noticed. Like people really like people still reading these publications. There's no doubt about that.
Yes.
And so you do wonder whether I think what's going to have to happen is there's going to have to be some really big collapses of
Yeah.
companies that people care about, and then they might start thinking about it. But excise is not going to fix that. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. Who knows?
All right. Craig Maiden, does the indie beer industry as a whole need to focus on what made beer, a craft beer, a thing in the first place, being local and crafted rather than mass produced and widely distributed?
Yes.
See it as the only way to avoid more closures. As some brewers get bigger and bigger, smaller guys get pushed out of the bubble. This isn't necessarily my opinion, just thought to make a good discussion. Yeah. Well, yeah, that's what we've
Just
been
make
talking about.
here's a fucking good idea. Make beer fun again.
Oh, here we go. Where's your hat?
Yeah, oh, I don't want a hat.
Get a red hat.
If it's a bucket hat, then cool, but I
Get
won't
a
wear a
red
red
hat.
cap.
Make beer fun
No,
again.
no,
Make beer great again.
no. But it's just fun, you know. Where's fucking it's no good beer week. There's no fucking Brews Vegas. There's where's the fun?
Yeah. Make beer great again. Do you think we could sell merch? We need to make money. Let's see, make
Do
beer
we
great
need to
again
make
merch.
money?
I don't
I'm
know.
I'm
Probably.
I'm pretty happy.
Yeah, fair enough. I need to make money. All right. All right. Phil Sharp, IBA cancelling BrewCon, but still holding Indies judging there. Seems stupid. Well, okay. Well,
Yeah.
Indies is a cash cow, but East Coast brewers won't either enter due to freight costs. And judging pool will be limited as IBA
No,
won't
they'll
fund
no, no.
flights.
I would say that's not going to be the case. There'll be some consolidation point through chill logistics and that sort of thing. I doubt that there'll be significant freight costs. There'll be some freight costs, but not that much. As I think about it, I think we do need to have the judging in Perth, because just from the distance that the WA brewers are put at a disadvantage. It's pretty common that whoever is closest to where the competition is has the freshest beer, which gets the best
100%.
best
Yeah. It's a
outcomes and all that sort of
massive
stuff.
advantage.
So it should happen in WA. Be great to see some WA brewers kick some ass.
What if they
Love
don't?
Rocky.
What if like Moffat Beach just win everything? It's like, for fuck's sake.
If Moffat Beach win in Perth, right, that's just going to be like upper echelon fucking. I will kiss fucking Matty Wilson's fucking feet, sweaty
Yeah.
feet after he spent a day in the fucking brewery because shit,
Well,
man.
it's
If
quite
you're
an
doing
image.
that, then you're doing pretty darn good. I'm not even a foot person.
Oh, okay. That's way too much information. I'd back him in to do it at this rate.
I'd
I'd
back
back
him
him
in to
in.
do it as well. Yep,
All
100%.
right. All right. Darren Gittins. I'd see the MAFS. This is great. We've got some good content here. See? If MAFS producers approached a brewery to have their beers at a dinner party, would that actually be good publicity? Well, I've got a funny story about this.
Go on
We
then.
actually had The Bachelor come to me and say, could we film an episode of The Bachelor at AWOL?
Right.
And because I'd shared a lot of the designs and stuff I've done for designing the venue,
Yeah.
and it had obviously gotten attention. It was quite nice looking. And they sent an email or a call or something saying it was a popular reality TV show based around the dating niche. And I was like, what the fuck is this? So we organized it for one of our guys to be working it when they came in and did the date. It was just to film a date.
Yes.
And they had to sign an NDA. They couldn't say anything. But anyway, I asked him because it was one of our guys who was a bar guy. There's only one bar guy allowed in the venue at the time.
Yes.
And then they had the date, and I didn't even know what the program was. But I asked him afterwards, and he was like, "Yeah, it was The Bachelor." I was like, "This is awesome!" Like I watch The Bachelor all the time, and then I watched the season, and it wasn't on there. It wasn't on the show at all.
Wow.
Yeah, and you give them the whole day for free. You give them all the drinks and everything else for free, and you clear out the venue. And if it doesn't make the show, it doesn't make the show, and that's it.
That's terrible.
Oh, is what is worth a crack, I reckon. Would have been good to have AWOL. For someone who studied human resources at university, to design a tap room and have it on TV because of the way I designed it would have been like a pretty cool thing to put on my resume, which I don't have. I did that. Would have been good. Right. Last question. Daniel Pinto.
What do you got?
Hop producers
Pinto.
around the world following the downtrend and looking to sell hops for cosmetic industries. Ooh, and for animal feed. Oh, God. Some of the hops we are buying in Australia from several suppliers can go back as far as 2021 crop. Is that a sign
Yes.
that maybe hop prices will go down to stay in business? Something
No,
that could help alleviate
there's a glut.
craft brewers' bills.
There is a glut of hops
Yes.
in the world, especially in North America. There's
Europe as
currently a
well.
glut,
That's
and in
another
Europe
story we skipped over.
they're sitting on a lot of hops. And so if you are a brewer and you are contracting hops, don't, because you'll be able to get them, no problem. In fact, if you contract hops and your production volumes have decreased, or you're not going to use all of the hops, the suppliers are going to hold you to those contracts. You're going to be buying hops that you don't need.
Yeah.
It's not really problematic getting most of the common varieties on the spot market at the moment. There's certainly contracts that can be bought as well if you find yourself at a loose end. Yep, not a problem. Don't contract hops.
Sounded like financial advice, but it's not financial
Or contract
advice,
some, but not all. But yeah, there's a glut, and it's I guess no. So to be fair, maybe there's not necessarily a glut, but I think in this current market, I think it's fair to work with your hop supplier to right size your contract. And to be fair, a lot of the hop suppliers will work with you to make sure that you have the right contract to secure supply. They usually have like a plus or minus 20% kind of leeway thing. You use more, you can get more. If you use less, you can take less, and all that sort of stuff. They're good like that. And but don't. I guess what I'm trying to say is don't over contract.
Yeah.
And if you happen to over consume hops, you're not going to have a problem getting your hands on hops that you need.
Yeah. Not financial advice or hop.
That is not financial advice. That's not hop
advice.
Contracting. It's not supply chain advice whatsoever.
That's it then.
All right then. Hey, do you know what next week is?
111? 100.
Is it 111? It's actually my birthday next Thursday.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
There you go.
Let's get really fucking drunk.
Oh God! Fuck's sake, let me look at my calendar to pretend like I've got something to do. Oh, look, I'm free.
Well, you're taking Erin out for Valentine's Day, so.
Oh, the night be Valentine's Day is a scam.
Yeah.
I'll make sure she's looked after. That's for sure.
Good.
She's the best. And one of the 12, but doesn't listen to the podcast anymore because I think she's sick of me because now we work together.
Are you bringing her next week?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, good.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it. We're gonna keep doing this podcast, right? Or are we gonna quit as well, like everyone else is quitting?
No, I'm not. I don't feel burnt out.
Right. Just checking.
Right. I feel fine. We don't have money involved, so we don't get burnt out. It's just like, what else am I going to do on a Thursday night?
Can we just get a little bit of wet the beak a little bit on the back end somehow? I don't know. Just a little bit.
What do we need money for?
You know what I mean? Buy another boat.
Wow. A little bit of. How's it go? A little bit of.
Yeah, a bit of. Just on the back end. You know what I mean? All right. On that note, love your work, mate.
See you, cowboy.
Cap is back on. Have a good week. See you next time.
Yeah. Later.